Apple's iPhone 7 Plus is not just the company's largest smartphone, but also the company's best one in years. But at a time when many companies have proven that their best can be really good, you'd wonder how much plus you're getting for that extra cash. I'm Jaime Rivera with Pocket Now, and let's find out in our iPhone 7 Plus review, brought to you by dbrand. Pocket Now's iPhone 7 coverage is brought to you by dbrand. To buy the best fitting skin for your phone or tablet, visit dbrand.com. I'd like to call 2016 the year of choice. Today, many phones have great design, fast performance, a great camera, and the concept of dual lenses in cameras isn't really new. Apple is actually late to some of these competitions, something expected as Cupertino is famous for erring on the side of refinement. So let's use refinement as the basis for this review. Hardware-wise, the iPhone 7 Plus is as refined as it is mixed. This continues to be one of the most solid and pleasant phones to hold thanks to the aluminum construction and 2.5D glass. If you choose any of the new black variants, the finish is an interesting blend of badass and elegant that looks great up close and from a distance. In many ways, this is Apple refining a familiar design to a new level, even if on a conservative side. Other refinements come at the hand of the IP67 water and dust resistance to survive under a meter of water for 30 minutes, something Apple took forever to catch up on. There's a new Force Touch home button here that might take a little getting used to if you come from an older iPhone, but that's far more convenient than the standard capacitive keys that react to heat and not to an actual press. If you're planning on keeping this iPhone for the long run, this is one less moving part to worry about as well, so I really praise the new approach. Now, things get mixed when you notice that essentials like making the rest of the buttons reachable is still a plus issue. The camera hump makes the phone wobble more than its predecessors on a table, and yes, even with the Plus-style thickness, there is no headphone jack here. Your color of choice also determines other issues. Any color that isn't black is prone to antenna lines, and then the black variants are either prone to fingerprints or easily susceptible to scratches. I'm personally more inclined to this matte black variant, but each of you will have to pick your poison. Still, there are a few new added tricks that make you forget about the design flaws, and that's mainly because they're focused on refining content consumption. The wider color gamut on the new Retina HD display provides punchier color and deeper blacks than before, and these are some of the best stereo speakers that we've tested so far. But not all features matter to all users, so don't let that be the reason for you to buy a product. The experience extends to the ample volume for phone calls through the earpiece, and even through the speakers. Apple's new A10 Fusion processor with 3 gigs of RAM runs the show underneath, with 2 cores providing powerful performance when graphics get intense, and 2 cores for day-to-day efficiency. And given the fact that Apple considers itself more of a software company, that show that's powered by iOS 10 is also what makes the hardware disappear. We have separate videos to detail what iOS 10 can do linked in the description. The ones I've enjoyed the most are actually the little things, like 3D Touch now including widgets to save me the need to dig within applications, or subtle improvements like Raise to Wake to keep up with notifications and then using 3D Touch again to respond to them without the need of, again, digging into the application. The keyboard is now smarter using Siri's machine learning, and since it now supports predictions of 2 languages without the need of switching around, my needs of a clunky third-party keyboard are no longer a case. Speaking of Siri, I like how you can now summon a lift with it, or tell it to send a WhatsApp to someone, though third-party application support is still rather limited. And above all, my favorite feature is the integration with HomeKit. I recently received some fancy new IoT products from iDevices, and now all I have to do is say good morning and Siri turns on the lights, or say good night and Siri turns them off. The new control center has also been enhanced to include a HomeKit area, in addition to adding more room for the rest of the controls. And even though I still avoid using Apple Maps, this update makes it really useful for using it with walking directions because it can actually tell you to go right or left, as opposed to Google Maps, which just doesn't. And then there are the changes to iMessages, Apple Music, and News, which I'm not really a fan of, but that do place these applications on par with competing services. I've been testing the iPhone 7 Plus in 2 different variants for nearly 2 weeks in New York City. My experience with the 32GB version truly crashed and burned. I mean, seriously, if you're gonna buy a phone this big, you want to consume a lot of content and media, or play a lot of games with it, and 32GB just does not cut it as the 128 gigs of my Black variant. And everything else, data speeds are great over T-Mobile, and the experience of using the iPhone is as expected, with great fluidity in the user interface and stutter-free performance when playing graphics-intensive games. This is also the king of battery life for content consumption, going way over a day of heavy use, and about the only thing that I don't like is how long it takes to charge. We've discussed that in our 24 hours video. About my only complaints with using this phone on a day-to-day basis are the fact that it's large, so it's really hard to handle with one hand. And 2 is the fact that, well, there is enough space here for a headphone jack. Apple should have seriously considered leaving this as a plus feature. The whole topic of fumbling around with adapters leads to a very cumbersome experience. And sure, there are some Bluetooth options, but inline controls for the average Bluetooth headset are really not at a friendly spot for phone calls, so it also leads to another cumbersome experience. Now, one of the major changes that Apple made is with the camera. Apple finally took the plunge to newer specifications like a 12-megapixel sensor with f1.8 aperture and optical image stabilization. But if one camera isn't enough for you, there's a separate 12-megapixel telephoto lens at f2.8 aperture for 2x optical zoom and 10x digital zoom when taking photos. I highly suggest you watch Juan's separate real camera review, linked in the description, as well as we dig deep into what these cameras can do. As for an average consumer, I'm really happy to see that once again I could trust an iPhone with my photos, and that's because we have great color saturation, contrast, and detail. Whether it's during the day or at night, this is truly a great smartphone camera to rely on. I also love the smooth stabilization on video, and how easily the camera transitions from one lens to the zoom lens. Oh, and if you do see jitter while filming or taking a photo while fully zoomed in, no worries. Somehow this just doesn't make it to the final footage. Really, my only complaint with the camera experience is the selfie camera, which has a very dated field of view at a time when wide-angle selfie cameras are the standard. To conclude, I guess the last question left on the table is if it's really worth it to get an iPhone 7 Plus. I mean, seriously, this phone starts at $750, and I had to make the jump to nearly $900 plus taxes because the 32GB were just not enough. That's a lot of money in today's world for a smartphone, and especially one that's not significantly greater than everything else that's out there. Sure, you can't deny that this still is the greatest iPhone you can get, and probably the most pleasant experience I've had with an iPhone in a while. If you value great experience for consuming content, insane battery life, a robust ecosystem, great customer service, and one of the best cameras in the industry, then I would really recommend getting the iPhone 7 Plus, so long as you don't mind the price tag. And hey, listen, if you can't, don't worry. This is 2016. The market is flooded with similar alternatives that can fit your needs depending on your ability to compromise. Again, the iPhone 7 Plus is a great phone that I highly recommend, but it's not the only great phone in the market right now. Pocketnow's iPhone coverage is brought to you by Dbrand. Check out dbrand.com to customize your iPhone with a real-time preview. Dbrand skins are designed to add grip, texture, and kill those jet black iPhone fingerprints. They ship worldwide, and iPhone skins start at just under $10. If you're interested, links are in the description. Folks, there are more videos of the iPhone 7 Plus, so make sure you follow us on social media and hit that subscribe button down below for more videos like this one. You can also catch our videos on vessel.com/pocketnow, and follow me on Twitter, Jaime_Rivera, or on Instagram at Jaime Rivera. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like what you saw. I am Jaime Rivera. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.